got hold of this, what he meant by this meeting and so on. But on my part, I wasn't expecting that he would get hold of my letter unless it had gone maybe to social media or linked to social media, as it seems to have been the case. But it is him who must explain how he got hold. But it concerns me, and there was never any meeting that took place in any case as along those lines.
I'm not dealing with a meeting now, Minister.
Yes.
I'm dealing with the fact. It appears to be a fact that Mchunu got hold of the letter and conveyed that to Matlala. So it wasn't you who sent it to him. It wasn't General Masemola. It could only have been either Nkabindi or one of the PAs or secretaries to one of the other generals that he copied the letter to.
Well, I really want to confine me not to any speculation, but if indeed Matlala received this letter from Mchunu, it would mean it happened that way. And that concerns me as well, what it was sent for, because it was never meant for Matlala or any other person that he may have sent the letter to.
In fact, it was only meant for Masemola. It wasn't even meant for Nkabindi.
It was meant for Masemola, General Masemola, and General Mosikite in terms of my instruction.
Okay, that doesn't appear from the directive, Mosikile. But you say your instructions...
I told him to send it because I knew that General Masemola is is going on leave. And he has appointed General Mosikite to be in the office. So send the letter to General Mosikite so that she is aware of this decision.
Now, I think most people, most reasonable people would find it quite odd and curious, almost bizarre, that you send a letter of this importance on New Year's Eve,
yes,
at 5:20, and address it to a national commissioner
who is on leave.
You know is on leave. He's taken a break until the 14th of January. I think you know that. And he's not even in his office. There's an acting national commissioner in the office. And your instructions in the letter, or as you want to frame it, your directive is that this team be disestablished immediately. Clearly, physically, he can't do it because he's not in his office. He's on leave. So I want to put it to you that the issuing of this directive on New Year's Eve to a national commissioner who's on leave, it doesn't make sense. It's totally bizarre, and unless you can give us some other reason why you would have done so.
Yes.
On the same day. On January 1st, Mchunu informed Matlala.
On January the 1st?
Yeah.
Okay.
That he would be meeting with you and Lieutenant General Sabia. He says in a text message, "Good day, I've arranged a meeting for Sabia and the minister. Must have a solution."
There are two questions there. The first one is, would it concern me that Mchunu seems
shortly after you?
Yes, it would concern me.
It would?
It would concern me because I wouldn't know how that happened. But not only when my letter found its way into his hands on the date and time, it would have concerned me if my letter found its way into any other person's hand. I would similarly worry how it happened, and therefore the answer is straight. It would worry me. I would be very much concerned. Now, about this meeting, which is my second response, that he would arrange a meeting. It is him, apparently, who talks about that, not me. I never, and I want to repeat, I never spoke to Brown Mchunu in this period, particularly about the disbandment. How he got to know, how he got access to the letter, it is better explained by him. And that would be the only time that I would get to know how it happened. But about this meeting, there was no such meeting on my side. It was never communicated to me. I would know what the meeting would have been about. I never spoke to Smia about this meeting, that there was a meeting that was imminent between me and him, that I had sent somebody, and nobody ever raised the issue of a meeting between me and Smia after the letter of directives.
Did this...
It's a working day. They work on the 31st. There's no law.
Mola's not working, he's on leave.
Yes, he was on leave.
Yeah.
That is why the instruction said, send it to him, he is on leave. Send it to General Mosikidi, who is in office. That's not an offense. That's not breach of any law, because I wanted him to be aware. I was aware that he was on leave. And as far as I'm concerned, as a second reason, I sincerely and seriously wanted a situation where when we go back to work in January, we have a sense of 3 issues that have been lifted from the maze of other issues for attention, including the workshop that was spoken about and so on. I wanted us to find a way to focus on these 3 issues because I wanted a sense of achievement, something concrete that I could show to the Republic that, look, we have activated police properly and increased efficiencies on border management. 2, we want to make interventions on intelligence for reasons that I would state. And that I am making efforts within a short period when I'm there, well, short, but it was 6 months. I'm not sure about focused, because there's nothing that suggests that on the 1st of November, nobody was focused on what was going on there. But if you mean that there was no day where we said this day we're going to be discussing the National Political Killing Task Team, I would say yes, there was no such a day. There was no day to discuss the National Intervention Team, the National Intervention Unit, even though it has not been disbanded. But I'm saying, as a principle, we would discuss all the teams and so on if there was a day for them, and I'm sure at some point would come. And as it happens, you now know that there was a meeting that came after the disbandment. But
yeah, no, we know about this meeting.
But I wanted
before then.
In the reasons, I want to capture that response. So you will then get to understand how we intended to handle that particular matter specifically in a dedicated form you are talking about. But I've already answered that it was discussed on the 1st of November. It was discussed on the 21st of November, 22nd November. Much as you would want me to say there was a day, I am answering there was no such a day when there was a dedicated discussion on this. I'm saying so.
So your answer is it was discussed with, but Mchunu wasn't in the meeting. Kumala, he wasn't in the meeting. Only General Masemola was in the meeting.
Senior Counsel, I've said, yes, there was this meeting. It was the way it was. And these statements were made in that meeting. I want to avoid talking as if I breached a particular law by not doing what you are talking about. I'm putting it as it happened that we had a meeting on the 1st. Now, I'm not hearing you saying, why didn't you have the 3 on the 1st and not this meeting? So I had this meeting, I'm telling it as it is. And then on the 22nd, that's all we did. Not a meeting dedicated, separate, with General Kumalo, with General Mchunu, and with General Masemola. No, not that one.
Yeah, so it seems to me that this is all part of your orientation as a new minister since July 2024, and even by November 2024, you're discussing the organizational design and structure, and one of those issues that crops up or arises from those discussions is the political killings task team. As part of that discussion, that's the context of that discussion. What I asked you about is whether there was any dedicated, or as you like to say, focused discussion on the political